A pack of wolves surrounded a pregnant woman. What happened next is unbelievable. Do you believe in miracles? If not, then you should definitely listen to this story, because hardly anyone will believe what I'm going to tell you today about a woman and a wolf pack. Not even the most experienced scientists can explain what is to come. 25-year-old Mary Cranick lived in Minnesota. She was a normal woman, and even as a teenager, she dreamed of a big house with a garden, her own family, and maybe a dog. Your dream should soon become a reality, because at the age of 24 Mary became pregnant and, together with her loving husband, the couple was excitedly expecting their first baby. Everything went normally and there were no complications in January 2015. By the time Mary was a month pregnant, the woman was driving home from town in her car. A heavy snowstorm raged that day, and since it had also been snowing continuously for the previous few days, all the streets were covered with snow. He was up to half a meter. Hi. Mary was in her SUV and she was only a few miles from her home, but just as she was driving through a piece of forest where the roads had not yet been cleared, her car suddenly got stuck in the snow. The young woman realized that she couldn't possibly continue. The rear wheel spun in the snow and the car didn't move a meter forward on this day of all days. The heavily pregnant woman did not have her mobile phone with her and was therefore unable to get help. So she had no choice but to get out of the car and hope that someone who could help her would drive by soon. But the snowstorm got stronger and nobody had been able to get past the scene of the accident for half an hour. The young woman was desperate. She started to freeze and couldn't keep the engine running any longer as she was already running low on gas, but the most worrying thing was that it was already getting dark and it just wouldn't stop snowing. Mary realized things were getting serious, because if she stayed there any longer, it would soon be dark and she would be in danger of hypothermia. It was still a few kilometers to go home and it was a little shorter back to town. So the woman decided to walk along a path that would lead her back to the city there. She was able to call for help. The woman had already walked a little over half a kilometer when something happened. That, probably no one would believe, because suddenly the woman noticed how slowly her contractions began. She knew she couldn't go any further. A few meters away from her was a tree that didn't have that much snow on it. There she dragged herself with all her strength and finally threw herself on the ground. Exhausted, she screamed, "God, what are you doing to me? Please help me." After 5 minutes she passed out from the extreme cold and excruciating pain. This could be the end of the story and all you would find would be a lifeless body in the snow. But what really happened? No one in this world can explain. I don't know how long it had been since I fainted, Mary reported, but when I came to I felt warmth and my head was resting on the back of a great gray wolf. He was probably the leader of the pack. The other wolves, and there were about 10, went around me and protected me from the snowstorm. I didn't even have time to get scared. It was more like a dream. They didn't show any aggression or became dangerous to me in any other way. After about 20 minutes, I gave birth to my baby in the snow. A female wolf cautiously approached the boy and gently licked him. It was as if she knew exactly what and how to do it. The remaining wolves snuggled up to me and warned me. My baby started crying, so I knew he was alive and fine. The wolves never left me alone, and I gently hugged my child to my chest. By this time, Mary's husband has already started looking for his wife because she should have been home a long time ago. He, a few friends and his neighbors finally drove through the forest in an off-road vehicle along the exact path they suspected that his wife must have been driving. On the way they found Mary's car completely covered in snow. When they realized the car was empty, they imagined the worst that could have happened to the woman. The men continued on foot and one of them carried a rifle because they feared that the woman might have been kidnapped. When they finally saw the pack of wolves a few hundred yards away, they thought something terrible must have happened. The man with the gun fired a warning shot so the wolves would get away. They actually did so, but they did not go far but stopped a few meters further in the forest. As the men drew closer, they recognized the woman and the newborn in the snow. It was incredible, the men later reported. The pack of wolves stayed close to the woman the whole time, and even when the men brought her to the car, the animals followed from a safe distance. About an hour later, the woman was finally in a hospital, and a few more days later, she and her rescuers shared the unbelievable story. In an interview with an American newspaper, even experienced rangers and hunters reacted to this report and said that they had never seen anything like it. Specialists suspect that the wolves caught the baby scent and then acted instinctively and protected the woman. This bear that rescued a human baby from a dumpster must have had a similar instinct. Check out the story here.